Hi, and welcome to the first Upicha video. If you haven't already, I recommend that you take a look at the video. It's a 3-minute video called Composition Video, and it articulates the theoretical ideas behind how I compose imagery. And the two basic concepts are asymmetrical balance and the brightness weight illusion. In this video, I'm going to show you 5 pictures that I took and explain what I was thinking when I composed them, just to kind of help you get familiar with these concepts so that you can use them to help improve the quality of your pictures as well. So in this photograph, the dark roof, the dark side of the building, and this dark wall here serve as the weight of the picture on the right side of the image. On the left side of the image, you have this large bright sky, the bright wall, and the bright lights. So essentially, these small dark areas here on the right serve as the weight, and the large bright sky, the bright wall, and these bright lights serve as the counterweight. So this is a use of asymmetrical balance where the two sides of the picture are different but equal. So this is the math that's behind imagery. The reason why these dark areas here, it doesn't make sense, right? These small dark areas here, why would they balance this large bright area? Well, that has to do with the brightness weight illusion that darker objects appear heavier. The human figure is relatively close to center, and so it doesn't significantly contribute to either the left or right side of the image. Um, I would have preferred that the human figure be here instead of here, but my particular camera is difficult to control because of shutter lag, so it is what it is. These things, I'm also going to show you the mistakes and things that I would like to have done differently, just in full disclosure. I also think that the whole composition should be shifted a little bit to the right. Here you can see that I've clipped this traffic light. I think that the right frame should be over a couple of millimeters, maybe right about where my mouse cursor is. And we've got a little bit too much on the left, so the left border I think should be right here. This is a nice clean edge for the border. It's still a good picture, but that's, if I had the chance, that's what I would do differently, is I'd take the picture a little bit earlier so that the human figure is here instead of here, which I think is close to the middle of the. But the reason why I would want that there is so that the head of the figure is between the two cars in the background instead of being a subject merger here. And so that's basically. And I really like this street lamp over here and the street sign contributing to the weight of the left side of the picture. And basically, when I'm taking a photograph, I'm looking at everything. It's hard to do because when I first started taking pictures, I would see something interesting and I'd put it in the frame and then take the picture. Now I'm looking at everything, and it's challenging to really think about everything all at once and how it all works in concert, how all the parts of the image work in relationship to each other. I like these little street lamps here. I think when I came upon the scene, what really grabbed me was it the scene looked like an historical photograph already. You can see it was a rainy day, uh, and so I thought, oh gosh, there's something about this. I have a certain, uh, I guess, romantic feeling about old images and maybe the past in general. And so this kind of gave me that feeling, that historical feeling, and that's why I took this picture. But um, there are two parts to imagery. There's the emotional part, which for me was that sort of nostalgic historical feeling. And then there's the intellectual component, which is the mathematical calculation so that all the parts are working together. And I feel that art is really this confluence of our emotion and our intellect, uh, a confluence of the two into one moment. And it's exciting when you can have all those two parts working together your emotions and your intellect to create a uniquely human um, moment where those two things are coming together. This photograph was taken on East 33rd, uh, east of Lanark Street, facing north towards the mountains of North Vancouver, which you can see in the background, in January of 2022. And the impulse for this shot is the people shoveling the snow. There was something about this scene that just kind of tugged on me emotionally. It felt like something from the 1960s. I come from Toronto, and it just reminded me of a scene from Toronto in the 60s when there was this sort of camaraderie of immigrants, uh, Czechoslovakians and Hungarians, um, and of course the Italians were already there by the time I was a kid. And there was just this sense of camaraderie that almost brings a tear to my eye thinking about it. And these two guys working to clear what is essentially a public thoroughfare. It's an alley. It's not a roadway, but it's still public. And these two guys working to clear the alleyway just kind of got to me. So that was the impulse to take the photograph. But we all have these impulses. We see things that grab our attention, that inspire us to want to create an image. But in the past, before I understood the ideas of asymmetrical balance and the brightness weight illusion, I would have just, tried to grab this shot and run without any consideration for geometry or the math of it or the intellectual component of art. So now that I know about these things, I was able to take those into consideration, and I'm going to kind of share that with you so that you can to help you to kind of get familiar with these ideas and use them yourself. So basically, from a structural perspective, the way that I composed this image was I took the small dark area here of the side of the house and the bit of the fence here that's dark, and I use that to counterbalance the telephone pole over on the left and the brighter fence over here. And those are the main components of the image. Yes, there are all kinds of other things going on here, and the human figures, the two human figures kind of cancel each other out because, or balance each other because this is roughly speaking the middle of the picture where I'm running my mouse cursor right now. And so because they're on either side of it, they balance each other, roughly speaking. But when you compose an image, you're thinking about all the parts of the picture and how they all fit together. It's quite a thrill, and it's quite intense to be thinking about how to right to the frame edge how everything works together. And it does take some practice to get good at it. And, in this situation, I didn't have a lot of time because I'm dealing with, human beings, and it would make me feel uncomfortable and make them probably feel uncomfortable to stand there for a long time pointing the camera at them. They probably would start wondering what I'm up to. So I kind of had to, do this quickly. But I'm quite pleased with the results. I really like, how the whole thing works together. This telephone pole has really been considered for well by counterbalancing it, with the dark area over here, and the fence. The whole thing works together quite nicely, and uh, that's how this picture works. So there are the two parts. There's the emotional, which is that feeling of camaraderie, and then there's the geometrical, mathematical part of it, which is counterbalancing the small dark with the large brighter.